Instructor. I want to go ahead and get you involved. This is going to be a really quick tutorial. The windows aren't that clear, so when you're driving, your windows won't always be clear because you're going to have snow, rain, sleet, grit that's on the road. So I'm going to give you some inside views. I'm going to give you some outside views to really kind of show you what you need to do. I'm a state certified driving instructor. I teach teens and adults. So whenever I'm driving with students, I try to get them to the gas station so we can clean the windows. Then once I think they're the best, we wipe off our headlights, we clean our windshield and windows, and then we get out on the drive. So I'm going to switch views right now. Okay, there's that view. Okay, I'm going to take you around into some general areas. I try to keep beginning drivers on areas that are that are very well lit. It's hard to see. And a lot of beginning drivers just get very overwhelmed and literally they drive off the road. So I want to keep the turn short and I want to go in the nearest lane. Believe it or not, a lot of beginning drivers do not know where the windshield wipers are, so I do show them because that is important. And we want to practice having good speed control, having good lane positioning, and really focus on just overall comfort, because at night it can be very overwhelming. I drive adults at night, morning, evening. I drive teens, adult, at night, morning, evening. So you just want to be smooth and you want to teach them look ahead. Typically, a lot of driver's ed cars are 5, 10, 12 years old. If you have a newer car, I would strongly suggest you practice in that. This is a 2024, so we have really good headlights, really brand new windshield with not a lot of glare. Glare, I think, is what hurts drivers. It's hard for them to see. It's hard for them to judge. So I keep drivers in the first lane. I teach them to look ahead and scan. I want you to notice the white line to the right. That is your edge line. In North America, we drive on the right and we have pavement markings. A lot of areas in the world don't have pavement markings. They don't have lines. So I teach my students to look ahead, kind of like you walking in the hallway. I want you to think of you walking down the hallway, walking in your house. You want to look ahead to the end of the hallway, because if you look at the walls, literally, you're going to walk into the wall. So our speed control is pretty good. We're at about 50. The nighttime environment is pretty well lit. We have street lights. These pavement markings are probably less than 5 years old, so they do wear out, and eventually the municipality or the county will come and spray new lines, and in some cases they're reflective tape. And I want you to look ahead, have great speed control. Hello, hey, how are you doing? We're out doing a quick night driving tutorial. You got any questions, put them in. So what I'm doing, I'm just giving you guys some information about night driving. Make sure your windshield's clear. I've been teaching teens and adults about 24 years. So we're going to give you more in-car, more tutorials. I'm doing great. It's great. The Lions it's halftime right now, so the Lions are leading. Kansas City won, so it's going to be very interesting. I'm in the Midwest, so every area is a little bit different. These street lights are pretty new, so they put out a lot of light. And if your eyeglass wears, it's a little bit hard to see. You notice I'm trying to keep good speed. A lot of beginners will look down. Something about, whoa, you saw that black cat that almost ran out? Woo-hoo! That's why you got to be careful. And let's talk about that in a second. If an animal runs out, you should not swerve. I'll say it again. That black cat almost ran out, and I had to make a choice. If I would have swerved, I would have lost control of the car. So we do not want to swerve for animals. Human life is worth more than an animal life. I do have a dog also, so I do understand. So look, we're coming up, making a right turn. We want to look left and right, and then go into the turn really easy. A lot of beginners like lose the turn. You saw how easy I went into that turn? You got to go into your turn really easy. You got to take your time. In a lot of areas, you know, we got the King of Burgers. We got White Castle Fart Burgers. Okay. We have Starbucks butts. A lot of people will jump in and out of these driveways. So you got to really be careful. And then depth perception. A lot of beginners stop too late. They almost hit this truck ahead of me, or they stop too early. So it takes a few times to get used to driving at night. And also this car has high output headlights, and I'm going to do a tutorial on that. And headlights do make a difference. So I'm going to get over to the right, and here's what would happen if you were driving with me. You might go, I'm going to do something. You might go all the way off the road, then you'll turn. You see how that turn is? That's a beginner turn because you lose sight of the road. Now we're merging on. You got a pretty good view. The lines here are brand new, but most of the time when I take drivers out, they are not new. This car just makes noise. It really doesn't accelerate, but this is a good example of what beginners will do. They'll barely get on the gas, and then we have to come out, pretty fast. So I'm at 69, the speed limit is 70. So I'm in the first lane, taking my time. If you got questions, put them in. You know, where are you from? I'm from the Midwest. How many years or hours do you have driving? I try to get students on and off the expressway. Smooth entry on, smooth entry off. And I want you to get into a pattern of just being comfortable. And I try to support my students, help them. The biggest thing is just getting comfortable with the vehicle. And if you're comfortable, you're going to be successful. I would say this car is not like your typical car. We have really bright headlights that are legal. We have a really clean windshield. It is a subcompact, so most of the cars there are like egg-shaped, unless you have a truck, and we would be higher up in the air. Speed control is pretty good. I'm trying to look straight ahead as far as possible. If I look down at the speedometer, I'll start drifting to the left or drifting to the right. Now, another thing that a lot of beginners will do, you can see the cars merging from the right. They would lift their foot and start to panic. And then we would have to do an emergency lane change to the left. Yeah, I do have my bearings on. I'm trying to keep the car position. A lot of beginners will drift to the right, so I'm going to drift to the right in a second. See, I'm going off the road to the right, and then you hear that noise? I'm off the road to the right. And in North America, they have these rumble strips set up, so I'm going to get off here, then I'm going to get right back on. And then if you're getting off your expressway, you lose depth perception. So I'm going to show you something. A lot of you would go really fast. Instead of making a short turn to the right, you would go really long. See, like I'm going really long to the left, almost like I'm going off the road. A lot of you will look to the left, but you should be looking to the right. So look where you want the car to go. And you do lose a little bit of orientation, but you've got to look up. There are 3 vehicles ahead of me. Look up as far as possible. And then this is a one-way going to the right. So when a light turns green, I'm going to go across the road, and then I'm going to make a left and get back on the expressway. I want to show you some struggles that beginners do. So I look left and right. And this car does have a auto shut off. Then I'm going to go in. And a lot of you will go really long into the wrong lane because you can't see. Literally, you're driving at night. This is a pretty good view of what it does look like. And remember, bridges freeze first. We're still in the wintertime, so it can get cold. And I tell my students, drive in between the lines. So you should see me driving in the lines. go real easy. And then by law, I have to stop. Okay. Now that sign to the right over there, that's do not enter. That's a regulatory sign. It's really easy to get confused. So and then what's going to happen when this light turns green, you're going to see me merge on the expressway. You know, what state are you guys in? Where did you take driver's ed? Those things are important because I'm trying to grab a perspective. And then when your light turns green, you want to look left and right. And now we're on the ramp. This is an entry ramp. Expressways have two ways to get on. There's an entry ramp and an exit ramp. Remember I told you this car just makes noise? It doesn't really have a lot of torque and horsepower. So I'm at about 60. And then I'm going to turn on my left turn signal. And then I want to blend into traffic. And that's a pretty good merge. That's what your road tester, that's what your driving instructor, and I'm a state certified driving instructor. That's what we're looking for. Come out real easy, real smooth. And then I'm going to get off at this exit. And there's a lot of learning here. And then we're going to talk about these chevron alignment signs. That's these signs to my left. They tell us the curve is going to the right. So you got to go slow into your curve. And you got to really just take your time. And I'm going to squeeze my brakes just before going to the curve. If you were with me, you probably would stop too late. And then we want to see the rear of the tires. If we can't, we are too close to the vehicle. Because if we get rear-ended, we'll have one collision. And if we're too close, we'll have the secondary collision. I had a client who got rear-ended, and then he hit the car in front, and the car was crashed like an accordion. From Pittsburgh, we've been there before. We were actually on Pittsburgh's football field. I had a client who is going to go to a pro camp coming up next month, HBCU pro camp. We were actually there about 3 years ago in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We drove down from the Midwest. Beautiful area. Really, really nice. So there were about, 300 guys there trying to get scholarships. My client was able to get a scholarship. He had 3 offers to play Division I football. So yeah, I've been there before. All right, so I'm going to go on my turn, and there are 2 lanes. I want to be by the double yellow. You should see it right now. And literally, when you're making turns like this, you lose your vision for a moment. I've seen it in drivers before. Our windshield is pretty clean. Headlights are clear, and it's really important that you wipe off your headlights. You keep some windshield washer solvent in your car so you can clean your windows just like what I did. And you want to have good windshield wiper blades, because if they're old, they'll streak, and then you won't be able to see. So I've got to get over to the middle lane because I'm going to be making a left turn on the street. I'm going to show you about these headlights. All right, and then I'm going to make a turn in, and then what I'm going to do is turn on the high beams. And I just turned them on. This is off. This is on, off, on. So as long as there are no cars around, I can have the high beam on. I want to show you this. So this allows you to see more. There's a lot more light. But if a car came, we would have to cut them off. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop for 3 seconds. because we're trying to get you ready for good driving patterns. And now I want to go into my turn. Real easy. It is hard to see. Typically, a lot of people live in subdivisions like this, neighborhoods like this. There are no street lights, and it's very difficult to see. So what happens, students like pass the street or they go over the curb. I had a client today hit the car on the curb, cut the turn too short. And then you want to drive in the middle right. This is too close to the right. This is middle left. We're in America. We drive on the right.